Hello and welcome to another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. We are brought to you by the fine folks at the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. My name, of course, is the mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. This guy's name is Jesse Friedman. He goes by Thunderstick in some circles, but he's also known as my vice mayor. Sir, how are you doing today?
I am all right, Derek. How are you?
I'm wonderful. The Arizona Diamondbacks won over the Giants. They're rebounding from losing that series against the Rockies. This, once again, was this lethal stretch of games against the NL West that I was deathly afraid of. This is a good start, though, right? The beating a team like the Giants when the Giants have not been very good lately is exactly what we needed to see out of the Diamondbacks.
Well, it's your Mark Grace quote, right? It's not who you play, it's when you play them, right?
That's right.
And we saw that yesterday. The Giants came in and they did score 2 runs almost right away off of Madison Bumgarner, so they did get off to a pretty good start in the game.
They did, which is something Bumgarner has been doing in nearly every start lately.
Yeah,
right?
It feels like he's sort of been working from behind lately, but yeah, it turned out to be I wouldn't say it was a great start for Madison Bumgarner all in all. But he fought through, Derek, and sometimes, every pitcher is going to have those outings where they don't have their best stuff. But you just kind of have to get through it, right? And 5 innings, 3 runs, given that MadBum was missing arm side to almost every single right-handed hitter he faced for a few at bats there.
It was
I think it was a good outcome.
He only had 3 walks, and that's the thing.
He did hit a couple of batters too.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't say it was great on that front. But the Diamondbacks played a solid game all the way around. It was a very watchable baseball game. I heard from people who, maybe they don't tune in to every Diamondbacks game, but on July 4th, they wanted to tune in and just see what was up with the team. And this game left a good impression on those people.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. The game got moved up and the fireworks afterwards got canceled.
3:10 is a bizarre time for a baseball game. Yeah. Very weird.
You know what? I find it to be considerate, Jesse. I find it to be considerate because the Diamondbacks wrap this thing up by 6 o'clock. They get you
barely
home.
Not really. It was almost 7.
Yeah.
This game was on pace to be. We were pretty freaked out in the press box. We're like, we're gonna be here till like 9 o'clock because
so long for an
the first game. Yeah, the first 3 innings I think took about an hour and 15 minutes or something. But fortunately, things sort of sped up from there.
Buddy Kennedy had an absolutely outstanding game. 2 for 4 with 2 RBI and a run scored. Also, some pretty nifty plays there defensively by Mr. Kennedy. I really enjoyed watching him out there.
Yeah, that glove flip on the double play, was not that many guys can do that.
Honestly, I know for a fact that he has, been very good at the plate, but I had no idea that Buddy Kennedy was as fast as he was.
He is, yeah.
He beat out a pretty standard.
It was very standard, yes.
Pretty standard ground out by just with them legs. It was awesome.
It was crazy, yeah. So actually, that was a pretty big story after the game. I asked Josh Rojas after the game about that, actually. I just asked him, did you have any idea that Buddy Kennedy was that fast? And he was like, honestly, no. He said he was like looking on. I'm trying to remember what the batting order was. Rojas was right after Buddy Kennedy. He was watching from the on deck circle. And he said he was completely stunned. He was like, wow, Buddy Kennedy might be faster than I am. And sure enough, he is, Derek. If you look at the numbers, Buddy Kennedy on that play, his sprint speed, I think it was 4.3 seconds to first base. That's how long it took him to get out of the box and into first base. That was the fastest time to first base by any Diamondbacks player this season.
My goodness.
Buddy Kennedy.
My goodness.
And you look at the guy, and he doesn't necessarily strike you as being, a speedster type. So it's impressive.
And I don't know. I don't want him to take that personally, but yes, he's.
That's
he's like him. He's fast. No, but he was much faster than we anticipated him being, especially on that play.
Yeah.
Josh Rojas, you bring him up. He's another guy that's been outstanding lately. He was 2 for 4 in that game as well with an RBI, hitting 268 right now with a 720 OPS. The only person right now, or a couple of guys have a pretty decent OPS, but Christian Walker's OPS is up to nearly 800 at 791. So just
still batting 204,
still
but
batting 204.
we don't care about that, right? Batting average
I don't
is
care
archaic.
About that. Christian Walker, Christian Homer, whatever you want to call him. Let's get him in the home run derby. That's what I really want.
Yes,
Christian
and
Walker
I did ask Torey Lovello before the game if he would be an advocate of Christian Walker being in the home run derby. And of course, he was supportive, as you'd expect Torey Lovullo to be.
I would want an honest answer, though. Like, I'm sure he's supportive, but like there is that factor of, hearing guys get thrown off by participating in the home run derby and not being as good with the long ball in the second half. So, I mean, at this point of the season, why the hell not? I mean, I think that it's more about the Diamondbacks.
You're not too worried about the second half, Derek? Is that what you're implying right now?
I'm just saying I don't think that there's a lot to lose at this point. There's kind of more to gain for the team and for Christian Walker. I mean, imagine how big that would be for him to, show out in a competition like that. I'm not even going to say win it, because winning it would be incredible, right? But for him to go to the home run derby and to have a good performance and make it to the final round or something would be huge for him as a player, because then he would get that attention he deserves. He's been very good. The names that he's up there with as top home run hitters aren't any slouches. It's Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber. So as far as the National League goes, he is up there with the best as far as the home run hitters are concerned.
And we know his history at Dodger Stadium. He's hit some monstrous home runs in that ballpark.
Oh my God, he would feast.
If only we could get Clayton Kershaw to pitch for him, right? You think he'd be up for that? I don't know.
I don't think so, but what a hilarious storyline. At least if he walked out there with him like he was going to pitch for him, like we would all have a good laugh about that. I don't know if Dodgers fans would, but we would have a good laugh about it. Oh man, of course, like I said, it was a big win for the Diamondbacks yesterday, and just excited to see them getting things rolling in the right direction. I think, especially with kind of how back and forth they've been. They have once again beat a team that has a pretty good record and has been good this season, but again caught them on a bad stretch after losing to the Rockies that have not been very good this season. So
the Giants last year, this stunned me. The Giants last year were 17-2 against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks were 2-17 against the San Francisco Giants. So that was incredible. That was kind of a big storyline after the game too. Was how good does it feel for the guys to get off on the right foot this season against that baseball team?
The Giants, for sure.
Big step for sure.
Also, it's the latest they've ever played a National League opponent. Ever.
Right.
The other latest times were like in May. So it's like not even close. Yeah, right?
It's not even close.
The other times weren't even, it's not June or anything like that. May, I think, against the Dodgers was the latest time that they had played a National League opponent. But here we are on July 4th. Of course, Jesse reminds us of all the bad things, Elizabeth, by the way. That's kind of his whole thing. Joe Mantiply. Huge props to Joe Mantiply for shutting them down. He has held opponents scoreless now in 31 of 33 games this season. He just doesn't walk anybody ever.
Yeah, he's faced like 120 batters and he's walked one of them, which is utterly mind-blowing.
That's less than 1%.
That I can confirm. Right? That is under 1% walk rate.
He's a math teacher. He knows what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Also, Marte now has hit safely in 16 of his last 18 home games dating back to May 23rd. So he's been pretty good here. And again, he's getting his batting average back up. He, I believe, has the highest batting average currently on the team. He's hitting around 263.
Talking about Marte?
Marte.
Yeah, he's at 263.
Yeah, Josh Rojas is the only one with a higher batting average at 268 right now.
Do you know what the trivia question, Derek? What would you guess is the league average batting average, like league wide?
That's interesting. I'll go with 246.
That's pretty close. I think it's 242. 242.
Yeah, things aren't great.
No, things are great on the offensive, and that's
that wet ball.
Considering the fact that there are no pitchers hitting in baseball anymore.
That's such a great point.
Yeah, you would think it would go up a little bit, but it is lower than it was last year, and as low as it's been possibly ever.
It's the moist ball, Jesse.
It is the moistness of the ball.
Yeah, it's gross.
Stop, please.
Of course. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to sign up for a membership over at gophnx.com. Jesse has all sorts of stuff cooking in the pot. I'm writing about moist balls, of course, but of course you can get Jesse's piece recently on the Diamondbacks trade deadline primer, which I think is very accurate. And I think that we have a couple of other names recently that have been thrown around that we're going to talk about here in a moment. But there are definitely some interesting things bubbling for the Diamondbacks around the trade deadline. I'm not going to call them sellers yet, but they're definitely not buyers. So I don't know how you want to classify them, but sign up to get a membership over at gophnx.com. Annual membership will get you a free t-shirt over at the PHNXLocker.com. If you get a month-to-month membership, you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. No matter which membership you choose, you will get member-only discounts over at the PHNXLocker.com and members-only access to our Discord, where we heap the responsibility of planning the show on your shoulders instead of ours. So join us so you can do our jobs for us over in the Discord. And honestly, there's no better place to be during a Diamondbacks game than the PHNX Discord. It's a fun place. Yeah, I know. Look, Emma's contractually obligated to not beat me up, unfortunately for her. So
Obligated? I wouldn't go that far.
Obligated.
I wouldn't go that far.
I believe I snuck a clause in your contract
You know,
when you went full time for you to not abuse me in any way physically. Yeah, you're gonna need to go back and read that, my dear. But
I'll hit up Saul when he gets back from his vacation.
Please do.
I'll get a copy of my contract real quick and just show everyone that it's not fucking in there.
All right. You don't want to pour milk on that cereal, is what I'm saying. You don't want the snap crackle pop. I'm just throwing that out there.
From you, Derek.
People don't want that smoke.
Let's just
they don't want that smoke. She don't want that smoke. People don't want that smoke from MadBum either, by the way. MadBum, speaking of smoke and this one wanting to fight me, people want to fight MadBum right about now, apparently, because he wore the American flag out on the field during July 4th. This was him coming out of the dugout, courtesy of the D-backs Twitter, looking like a folk hero, looking very studly, but during a time where, I don't know, Jesse, it's hard to be proud to be an American on some of these days, especially considering what transpired earlier in the day. I understand people's problems with this. What I found fascinating was there were people that were mad about both things. There were people that felt MadBum disrespected the flag by wearing it, and then they were people that felt like MadBum was sending some sort of political message, or it was a very wrong time
just the beauty of the beauty of America,
it's
right?
Incredible.
No matter
so
what you do,
we have so much freedom to debate all of this, right? But no, my point being is that I saw it. And in my old age and being naive, I didn't make much more of it other than it's July 4th.
It's July 4th,
right?
Yeah.
Madison Bumgarner has started a couple of times in his career on July 4th. And let's be honest, this was his best outing. So maybe he should wear the flag more often when he starts on July 4th. It was the least amount of runs he's given up in any of his outings on July 4th. But more importantly, I don't know. I don't want to. That's the beautiful part about this country. You are free to think whatever you want about it.
I was more talking about the beautiful part of the country being that no matter what you do, you're going to make everyone angry.
That's part of it.
That's more what I was talking about. But
it's also the freedom to have your opinion on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say in defense of MadBum that I don't think it was anything more than it being July 4th and him being proud.
I didn't really think of
the
it.
Flag, and again, Gabriel in our comments says, "Let him ride a horse from the bullpen wearing the flag." Fuck yeah. I'm all down with that. 100%. I love that. Like he can come in and Mason Saunders, we could have him actually rope a calf in the middle of the outfield pregame.
Yeah.
That could be his warm-up. I bet he'd throw a no-hitter.
Imagine how many people would come if that was like a pregame event with Madison Bumgarner.
Baseball needs to go full Savannah Banana and have this kind of stuff happen. I'm not mad at Madison Bumgarner for doing this. Not at all. Like, there's so many other things to be upset about, but I understand. Yesterday was a shitty time in our country, unfortunately, on a day where we wanted to just kind of forget about that and kind of be proud to be an American. Madison Bumgarner, let's be honest, he is a rich white dude in a country like this. So he loves it here, right? But there's a lot of stuff going on yesterday that made people, I guess, understandably upset to see him celebrating it. But I just say, don't put that much thought into it. The dude was just wearing the flag because it's July 4th, much like me wearing this shirt. I mean, sometimes we have to overthink this shirt. I am wearing a shirt that is little cartoon Benjamin Franklin's on it, flying a kite. That's an American eagle, right? When I put this shirt on today, I had to instantly worry about the fact that this shirt, honestly, is kind of a Philadelphia tribute. And there was a shooting in Philadelphia that happened on Benjamin Franklin, like Parkway or Avenue or whatever it was. Like, I had to think about this shirt that I was wearing too much while I was putting it on, and I still don't know if I made the right choice by wearing it, but damn it, I like the little cartoon Benjamin Franklin, and it's July 4th. So I guess I'm up there with Madison Bumgarner of, it's It's a terrible political and awful time in this country, and sometimes you just have to still, I guess, celebrate, the moments. I have a kid, so like for me, yesterday was about giving her a July 4th and watching fireworks and eating hot dogs and stuff. I just say when it comes to this stuff, unfortunately, we gotta let. If this was any other day, I would be on your side, but it's July 4th, so I think that's all that he did. No, I'm not actually a Phillies fan, Josh. How dare you put me out there for sure. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure, Brett Johnson said that would get the D-backs canceled by PETA and their Twitter following. He's right about that. Exactly. We can't win. We can't win here. But
have you been to Philadelphia?
I have never been to Philadelphia, but one of my best friends in the world is from Philadelphia, and I'm sure he likes this shirt that I'm wearing. So
there you go.
I will say this, though. Speaking of winning, Madison Bumgarner won yesterday. He beat his old team, and again, if it means that he's going to win by wearing the flag, I want him to do it before every game. His numbers against the Giants haven't been great, but his numbers this season have been pretty damn good, and that's one reason why his name is up there right there as a trade candidate for this team. I think more than his appeal to other teams, it's more of the appeal to the Diamondbacks to maybe shed his contract, right? But at the same time, if another team could see him as being a valuable part of their rotation right now, it might be a win all around for everybody.
Yeah, there was a report that came out. This is from Bob Nightingale. He basically quoting some Diamondbacks executive is saying that they would love to move Madison Bumgarner. I don't actually know if that was a D-backs executive or exactly some source who's aware of the situation that Bob Nightingale pulled this from, that the Diamondbacks are interested in moving Madison Bumgarner. And there's a big difference between a player drawing trade interest from other teams versus trade interest from their own team. Yeah, it's a pretty different situation, but the D-backs would love to get off of the contract, right? I mean, 5 years, $85 million. Unfortunately, even though Bumgarner has been better this year, he probably is not worth the amount of money that he's being paid at this point in his career. And so the Diamondbacks would love to find a way to move that contract elsewhere. My guess, Derek, is they're going to have to eat a sizable portion of the deal in order to make the move. And given the fact that Bumgarner is pitching pretty well for the Diamondbacks, all things considered, I don't really think it's worth eating a bunch of money to move him elsewhere when you're probably not going to get that much in the trade. So my guess is he probably sticks around.
Madison Bumgarner right now leads the league in starts, by the way. 3.74 ERA. I know
he leads the league in starts.
It starts. Games started. He leads the league. Maybe that's just because he pitched yesterday.
Is that to his credit? I don't know. He's been durable. He's been durable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. It's his best ERA since 2018. So it's his best ERA in his entire time with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
He's been pretty atrocious in these past two seasons. But, again, like you said, it might be just a combination of both. It might be the right time. Might be the fact that his performance is kind of leveled out to a point where he might be desirable to another team. And again, for Madison Bumgarner, there's not a lot of years left in his career, right? So I think it would be great for him to go potentially somewhere that he wants to go that still has, a chance to maybe win a World Series or at least make a deep run in the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting to see. However, there was another name that you brought up that I don't like being brought up as a trade candidate, and that's Zach Gallen.
Yeah, this is like the polar opposite where it was.
I need my fucking bat.
This is the polar opposite where the Diamondbacks, I don't think really have any interest whatsoever in moving Zach Gallen, but other teams are sort of hoping that he will. So I think Bob Nightingale, I think I also saw a report from John Heyman on this one as well, that there is a hope that the Diamondbacks consider moving Zach Gallen. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is likely to happen. Gallen is just a very big part of what the Diamondbacks do.
100%.
He's a likely all-star. It's still a little unsure who the Diamondbacks all-star representative will be, but I think he has probably the best chance out of anyone as of right now. And he's under control for 3 more seasons, and given the Corbin Carroll's around the corner and Alec Thomas is getting better and Jordan Lawlar was just promoted to, high A Hillsborough yesterday, things are moving in the right direction for this team. And I don't think they're ready to give up on the the notion that maybe Gallen could be here for the next good Diamondbacks team that really is ready to contend for the playoffs.
Gabriel Ferreira in the comments says over-under on MadBum heading to the Cardinals. Well, I don't. You have to give us Paul Goldschmidt back for that.
Yeah. I think that's fair, right? That sounds fair.
Josh Hunt said he's going to buy everyone torches and pitchforks if we lose that Gallen. I will be heading that mob up, Josh Hunt. So we will coordinate on that because
there you go.
Zach Gallen once again has been outstanding for a team that doesn't even deserve him. 15 starts, he's 4-2. Doesn't even make sense. 3.40 ERA. And honestly, a lot of his ERA has been at times because the Diamondbacks seem to leave him in for an extended period of time. I'm not saying management-wise that they're doing a bad job. It just seems like when Zach Gallen hits his wall, he kind of hits it fast, and he needs to come out of the game pretty quickly.
Yeah,
he doesn't have that same rebound factor that we're seeing out of Bumgarner or Merrill Kelly, who's been outstanding at giving up runs and then kind of being his best after that point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'll have to do a little bit closer look at this, but yeah, I think you're right. There's a sense that Zach Gallen, it tends to be the vast majority of the runs that he gives up, if there are any, it tends to happen later in starts. I know he gave up 6 runs in the 5th inning a couple starts ago, so I'll have to look more into that. But he's averaging about 5.5 innings per start right now, so it's not like they're pushing him too far on that front.
Sure.
But something that's it'd be interesting to look at for sure.
Definitely. I'm sure his ERA later in games isn't great, but again, he's a big part of what the Diamondbacks are trying to do going forward. So if you dare trade him, don't come back is what I'm saying. Don't call me anymore if you trade Zach Gallen because I'm going to be so heartbroken. I don't think I'm going to be consolable, but he's a big part of what they got going forward. And of course, like you said, he's probably the only all-star potentially for this team this year.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely. Joe Mantiply, he pitched pretty well again yesterday. I wouldn't say that's impossible. I did just look up some numbers though about what you were just saying. Zach Gallen's his opponent OPS does spike in the 5th and 6th innings. In the 5th inning, it's up to 765, which is not horrible, but it's definitely higher than his normal opponent OPS. And then in the 6th inning, it's up to 933.
Oh, Jesus.
So there is
get him out after the 5th for God's
sake. There is some truth to that, but that's also part of being an elite level pitcher in the big leagues is being able to go in and get through the 6th inning.
Sure.
So I think the Diamondbacks probably want Zach Gallen to be able to take that next step at some point, but he has been a little shaky at times this year there,
especially this season. Like at times there's still times this season where I feel like the Diamondbacks are sacrificing, potentially a win or at least a few runs in a situation for a guy to for the long-term care of that player in a way, right? Like to build on, just that situation, being out there after you blew the game and you have to still kind of get yourself out of it instead of immediately rushing to the bullpen. But, of course, that's not always on the players, right? I still think about Noe Ramirez still being the wrong guy in that Rockies situation. And
that was a tough spot. Your setup man gets hurt all of a sudden. And you just kind of desperately needed someone to go out there. And Noe's been a pretty steady presence for the Diamondbacks this season. So tough spot for him.
I called it the worst loss, and I needed plenty of Four Peaks Brewing Company beer to get over it. Of course, you guys can get this wonderful beer. Yes, someone asked me earlier. Yes, I am drinking Joy Bus Wow Wheat. And it came with a little laughing emoji after it. It's afternoon, sir. I don't see a problem here, officer. But anyway, get yourself whatever your favorite beer is at your local convenience store, gas station, supermarket, wherever you get your beer. Four Peaks has a wonderful variety of beer. You can go down to the Four Peaks Brewery down the 8th Street Pub where we'll be for the Coyotes draft party on July 7th. So make sure to join us for that. If you're a Coyotes fan, if you're a PHNX fan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your fandom is. Just make sure to join us down there. We're going to be having a blast. We're going to be covering the MLB draft as well, but I think we're just going to be doing it from the friendly confines of this very room that we're in right now. But of course, if you are interested in being down there with us, join us at the 8th Street Pub. They have amazing food down there. We were enjoying their food the other day. We're going to be broadcasting from there regularly, so make sure to, if you haven't been down there, to check it out because it's a blast, and we will be there.
Yeah, so, they give us like a little speaker, and so you can hear.
Oh, I have to hear myself. Yeah, it's the worst. I hate it so much. I hate hearing myself so much, guys. Just saying that.
Nicholas made a good comment in the chat that I want to point out real quick.
Sure, absolutely.
Just talking about clearing his schedule to watch games when Zach Gallen pitches. I think there's more than a few Diamondbacks fans in that boat where maybe some days the Diamondbacks are a little bit tough to watch, but when Zach Gallen is on the mound, those are, you don't want to miss that. Like he's that good.
It's a marquee day for the Diamondbacks. That's why he's our ace, right? It's the day that you want to, you hope he's pitching on the day you go to the ballpark to catch the game, right? And of course, if you do catch the game, segue back into my advertisement.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Four Peaks draft room, where we like to go. We might be broadcasting from there a little bit in the future, but make sure to check out the Four Peaks draft room at Chase Field because it's another great place to get your Four Peaks brew. Must be 21 or older to enjoy that, and make sure to enjoy responsibly. But yes, Zach Gallen is definitely the marquee matchup for the Diamondbacks when it comes to who you want to see on the mound. More importantly, the Diamondbacks named their starter for tomorrow's game, and unfortunately, it's a name a lot of people didn't want to hear. Tyler Gilbert is making the start, and I think the only reason why is because there's other names that people wanted to see get a shot. I know Corbin Martin has been a name a lot of people have wanted to see come up and get an opportunity. More than anything, it's Tyler Gilbert's performance recently in AAA that really seemed to leave you scratching your head a bit as to why he's the option that the Diamondbacks go for. I think it might be just about the experience he already has pitching at a major league level when there's not much experience left in their minor league system as far as guys that have already been called up.
Yeah, this was an interesting decision. We didn't find out until after the game yesterday, so the Diamondbacks certainly took their time on this one, trying to figure out who was going to make the start today. I mean, you look at the numbers, Derek, and it's a little bit hard to understand what the thinking was here. He had a really good year. Tyler Gilbert had a really good year last year in Reno. He had a 3.44 ERA, 19 walks, 50 strikeouts, opponent batting average of 234. He showed that it is possible to have good numbers in Reno, despite what we've talked about a lot of the time on this show. But this year hasn't really been the same for him. He has a 7.57 ERA in 11 games, 10 starts, 44 innings, 24 walks, 26 strikeouts. So basically the same number of walks as strikeouts, which is very uncharacteristic for him. Opponent batting average is well over 300. The whip is 1.80. So he's been a little bit better of late. He's only given up just a handful of runs over his last few starts, but I think he walked 5 in his last time out with Reno. So it hasn't looked great for him lately. I think part of this might just be that the Diamondbacks wanted a lefty to take this start. The Giants have some of their better hitters or left-handed hitters, guys like Brandon Belt, and so maybe with Tyler Gilbert, you're able to combat that a little bit. But I know this was not the name that a lot of people expected for this start.
For sure, and I think that's maybe a bit where the frustration comes in, is that the Diamondbacks still can't seem to solidify that starter, and Corbin Martin again is a name that people wanted to see maybe come up and get more than one opportunity. They've had a pretty quick hook for a couple of these guys, including Corbin Martin, including I call him a psycho all the time. Why am I giving Caleb Smith? Yeah, thank you. Caleb Smith didn't get very many opportunities, despite the fact that he's been very good for them in long relief at times. So he's another name that I kind of expected to get maybe another start. We haven't seen that yet, considering that the Diamondbacks named him coming out of spring training as their 5th starter. Yeah,
the big name that I was thinking really could be in play is Tommy Henry.
Henry, that's another guy a lot of people wanted to see.
It was a guy from Reno. He had a bit of a rough start to the season. I think he's ranked number 15 or so on the Diamondbacks top prospect list. He is also a lefty, so similar to Tyler Gilbert on that front. But he's been pitching very, very well in Reno lately.
3.89 ERA this season. In
Reno. Which in Reno, that's really impressive.
That might as well be sub 1 in Reno.
Essentially, yeah. That's really impressive what he's done. And he started the year walking a lot of guys. Over his last few starts, he's hardly walked anyone. Yeah. So it just seems like he's made a lot of progress. And I still think we're going to see him at some point this season. I think he turns 25 at the end of this month. So he's right around the age and right around the point in his progression where I think he's ready for the big leagues. And this certainly was an opportunity where the D-backs could have used him. He made the start for Reno yesterday. So I think it could have aligned well so that he could have made this start today, but the Diamondbacks turned to Tyler Gilbert instead.
7.57 ERA for Tyler Gilbert.
Yeah.
And again, it's just about the trajectory. The Tommy Henry seems to be on that upward trajectory. But maybe, again, it's that same thing that we have to remind people about Corbin Carroll. It's about their progression and going through it at the right speed so that you're not expediting it and potentially rushing it to the point where they won't be able to find success at a major league level.
Yeah.
That's why baseball is what it is. That's why the draft for a lot of people is so uninteresting, because so many of the players drafted don't go on to be the next big thing in baseball, right?
Right. The vast majority don't ever play a game in the big leagues. It's just the reality of the situation.
I think if the top 15 players drafted more consistently ended up being some of the best players in baseball, there would be a higher interest in the draft.
Yeah.
But because
and not to say like draft picks in other sports can, not turn out too, it's just another level.
Right. They never do. Like, you're never talking about 1 through 15 in any sport always being a contributing factor. You have some drafts that produced more guys than others, right? But it's the consistency, it's the percentage of those top 15, top 20 draft picks that end up going on to being good to great players in their sports versus baseball, which I'm sure that percentage is much less. Sometimes when you look at these drafts from 5 years ago, you would expect to see some of the top players in our game now drafted back in like 2017. And instead, you literally go through the list and go, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, well, and it's the same with this draft that's coming up in a couple weeks is like some of those names that we're talking about that the Diamondbacks could select with that second overall pick. Jackson Holliday, Drew Jones, Elijah Green, these different names and some guys, that are projected to be taken later. Some of those names we're going to know in 5-10 years because they're going to pan out. And some of those names we are going to, you won't, in 5 years, you'll have no idea who those guys are.
And it's not because of too many OGs. It's not going to be that. That's not the reason you forget. It's their performance. It's not our fault. But again, whether it's good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. The results. You can take OG's gummies and it will help you overcome it, help you enjoy it, celebrate it, no matter the occasion. OG's is a wonderful local scratch-made THC edibles company, and you can get a delicious variety of flavors from them, including their new pina colada flavor that I can attest to is incredible. All of their entire line of edibles is all about flavor, which if you've ever tried edibles of any kind before, that is definitely not a priority with some companies, but it is with OG's brands. Not only that, but they have a variety of strains to offer, including sativas, indicas. They even have hybrids. They also have a variety of doses for you. 3 milligram microdose, 10 milligram regular dose. If you're a medical patient, you might even find a higher dosage, 25 to 50 milligram. No matter what you're looking for, OG's has you covered. You can check out their entire line of products over at ogsbrands.com. Find a dispensary near you that's selling them. Go to their Instagram. They're always telling you what they have that's new and wonderful with OG's Brands. Both of those are at OG's Brands. That's OGEEZ Brands. Find their products at your local dispensary, wherever you shop for your edibles and your cannabis products. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And yes, once again, shout out to OG's Brands for inviting me to one of the greatest pool parties I've ever been to. I don't remember very much of it, but I was told that I had a great time. So thank you guys. But yeah, there was a question in our chat about, did we already mention, this is from Josh Hunt, did we already mention Jordan, the Lawlar moving up to the Hops? No, we did not. We have a little Mike Hazen had a farm segment that we're going to get around to eventually for sure. Tell you guys all about what's going on in the farm system all the time, every week. We are now here live. We're going to be 12:30 this week, but starting next week, we're going to be at 1 o'clock every day. So make sure to join us here doing this thing. In regards to Jordan the Lawlar, that's exciting. It's exciting to see him move up. It's exciting to see his progression. Obviously, him and Corbin Carroll both already look like they're playing way above their competition in the minor leagues. So I feel like their time is coming sooner than later. I think, honestly, with Jordan Lawlar, as much as I never thought I would be saying this, we might see him next season. But I am relatively certain we will see Corbin Carroll next season. But again, Lawlar moving up just brings him that much closer to the Diamondbacks actually adding him to this potentially amazing outfield that we're going to see for the Diamondbacks one day.
Well, you wouldn't add Lawlar to the outfield. I mean, you could play him. He's athletic enough. He could probably play the outfield.
I'm still thinking of Corbin Carroll being in the outfield, really, is what Christian Robinson potentially, whatever the case may be.
There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of great outfielders for the Diamondbacks in this organization, and it's just exciting to think about this team being comprised of these young superstars that the Diamondbacks have in the making.
Yeah, Alex brings up in the chat, wonder if Carroll gets some time in September. Yeah, possible. We've touched on that.
I still don't think it's very likely.
Yeah,
but
I would err on the side of probably not happening, but there is a scenario like I've talked about in the past where calling him up in September from a service clock standpoint, from a number of years of control standpoint, it might not be any different to call him up in September versus waiting a month or two into the season next year.
Right.
Depending on how exactly things shake out with him. So that wouldn't be totally shocking.
It wouldn't, not with the way that he's playing lately. But Jordan Lawler's still a little bit off. And honestly, with there was a time where I thought the Diamondbacks with Perdomo were kind of stacked at shortstop, and now I don't know. I mean, Perdomo makes some incredible plays out there, and then he also just botches some stuff. So I mean,
he's so young. He's
still very
young, 22.
Right?
So I think the athleticism is there, the talent is there. But yeah, he's just pretty raw at this point, and I think the fact that Nick Ahmed isn't here to, be sort of a mentor in some ways and just also someone that he can share at bats with has made things a little bit harder for him.
Defensively, it's amazing how well they clicked once Ahmed returned.
Yeah, it really was. That is so true. Gabriel made a comment in the chat that is sort of fun to dream about here. Drew Jones, Alec Thomas, and Corbin Carroll in the outfield. On paper, I mean, what's hard is that they're all center fielders. Like, they're all good center fielders. I don't know how you
just rotate them around each other. little carousel out there. But yeah, no, that's exciting. And I think exactly why we won't see the Diamondbacks make any moves to fill these positions going forward. They have some budding superstars in their minor league system almost at every position. And even in the positions they don't, they still have some, a little bit of a blockade where they're going to have to move some guys around and maybe start playing guys at other positions just so that they can get everybody in the lineup. We'll see what happens, but
yeah,
it's definitely why I wouldn't be surprised to see the Diamondbacks continue to not make any moves this offseason, continue to not really be buyers of any kind at the trade deadline, and just potentially making space for these young guys to come up. But of course, you guys, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of our content. We go live now all the time, 5 days a week. Me and this guy. I can't believe that. It's like he's not even real. I can't even believe he's here. I still feel like it's like a Tupac hologram or something. But very excited for that. And of course, if you guys are listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a 5-star review. Diamondbacks have game 2 tonight. Of course, we talked about Tyler Gilbert. Tyler Gilbert will be on the mound for the Diamondbacks. So see if they can get a series win secured tonight with Tyler Gilbert on the mound. It would be big for them because they have not had a series win in quite some time.
Yeah, this is, the Diamondbacks are playing a lot of games in the division the rest of the season. I mean, yeah, yesterday was literally their first game against the Giants, which means they have like 17 more games against the Giants still to come this season. So, Alex Wood is on the mound tonight for San Francisco. He's been very good at times. He had a great year last year. This year, the ERA is over 5, so it hasn't been as good for him. You can bet the Diamondbacks will have their funky lineup that they use against lefties most likely. So, it's probably Jordan Luplow leading off. And it's crazy how different the Diamondbacks lineup looks against lefties than righties right now. It really is like a completely different team. But we'll see what Torre has cooked up on the lineup card tonight. And hopefully they can get things going against Alex Wood.
Jesse, the Arizona Diamondbacks won one series in the month of June.
That's
against
rough.
The Minnesota Twins,
and they were 9-16 in the month, so there were not many positives in the month of June for this baseball team.
They split a couple of series and such, but it's crazy to think back about almost a month ago was the last time that they won a series close to that. So
they were about 500 for a while.
Yeah,
like in April and May, they were hovering pretty close to 500. Remember, they were 3 games over 500.
We made a little graphic. It was a little, little Baxter climbing up a mountain that we haven't used in a while. That guy's getting dusty.
Yeah, he's he's fallen down the mountain a fair amount since then.
He's like, I'm just gonna wait, you guys. I'm a little winded and I'm a little tired, but they do have a chance to secure that series win against the Giants today. Then they welcome the Rockies this weekend. And they have 4 games against the Rockies. This is a great opportunity, once again, playing good baseball. Giants haven't been playing very good baseball, to maybe take this series and maybe have that kind of roll into the next series. We've still been looking for that, for the Diamondbacks to go on some sort of positive streak as far as wins and losses go. And we haven't seen that. You never know what you're going to get out of this team. I don't know when to and not bet on them. On the DraftKings Sportsbook app, Jesse. I tried to bet on them, and everything I bet on the day before, they did the next day. I tried to do a little parlay and put some stuff in there, and of course, I bet on Christian Walker to hit a home run. He hit 2 the next day, so but not the day I bet on him, and that's sometimes the way it works out. But of course, hopefully you have better luck over at the DraftKings Sportsbook than I did with that, because that was a bit heartbreaking. I did hit the other things on there. I was bragging about that on Twitter. Maybe that was the real reason why I lost. Karma, bragging about a bet on Twitter in the middle of it.
At that point.
It wasn't a good idea, but download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code PHNX only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. I'm definitely not betting on Tyler Gilbert in any way in this game, that's for sure. And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he goes out there and throws another no-hitter, because that would be fitting. The way that people. It seems like the more we say negative things about these guys, like when people come in our comments and start saying like, "Why are they starting Carson Kelly at the leadoff?" And then he goes like 3 for 4 or whatever. But anyway. Carson Kelly, another guy. You wrote an article or a little bit about him in one of your pieces, and he's a guy that's been getting things back on track. So
he looks better.
That could be very beneficial for this team if he can get back right. Yeah,
he looks better offensively, and it was interesting having him catch yesterday with Madison Bumgarner on the mound. Jose Herrera has sort of been, I don't want to say MadBum's personal catcher, because I think a good portion of that might just be because Carson Kelly was injured for so long that he wasn't really available during that time. But Jose Herrera has been the guy working with MadBum the majority of the time throughout the year. But if the D-backs can get Carson Kelly's bat going again, that would be very big for them.
One of our Twitter followers pointed out, I think that it was Zach Gallen potentially, has been having much better numbers with Jose Herrera behind the plate than anyone else. So it's like, if that's the case, let's make that an official thing. Let's make that connection for real, and let's do everything we can to give Zach Gallen a 5th win, because he still hasn't gotten that in his career. So let's get Zach Gallen there.
I don't know. Jose Herrera, with Jose Herrera catching, Zach Gallen has a 3.05 ERA with Carson Kelly as a 2.96 ERA. Pretty much exactly the same. Dalton Varsho, he has a 6.10 ERA. That's just 2 starts though. So looking at the numbers, it's pretty dang close similar between the two.
All
yeah.
Right. Well, way to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I had the diplomatic freedom of saying a Twitter follower sent it to us. I didn't verify it, but I tend not to do that. Of course, we thank you guys for joining us on today's show. This is where we'll be on all of our non-post series games right here. Around 1 o'clock is when we're going to be starting.
Eat lunch with us. Maybe are we allowed to bring lunch too?
No. No. You better eat before you come here, because
Okay.
that's not pleasant radio. But of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. This guy's at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you guys so much for joining us. On behalf of Jesse and myself, we appreciate your time around lunch. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you spend the afternoon with these two guys.